Hello, hello, hello. Welcome once again to another episode of the Respect and Praise Show. Your host, Miguel Mike Medina. I hope you guys are doing well today. And on this episode, I'm going to talk about this man, this particular guy right here. He's another force to be reckoned with. He's a director, producer, writer, actor, as well. He does editing, cinematography. I mean, this guy wears so many hats. He's won awards, he's been nominated. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, here's an example of his work. Let's welcome Elroy Martinez Jr. Elroy, how's it going? Thank you for joining me.
Hey Miguel, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
You began your career in theater and you were part of a community theater group called I Act, You Act in Harlem. So tell us about your experiences being in that community theater.
Well, I guess you can call it a career. I wouldn't really call it a career, but in a way, it is that step. Even if it's independently and it's for myself, I'm still making a name, that I'm putting out there on, YouTube and working with other people. So, yeah, I guess you can say a career, even if it's not anything major or making me so much money or money at all. But, yeah, I did I Act, You Act. And prior to that, I was doing workshop classes with Lori Key. She's a professor from BMCC. I don't know if she's still a professor in BMCC, here in New York. I believe she's still a professor. But, I took workshop classes with her. There was someone that I knew that was taking classes with her there. And he told me about the workshops that she was going to be doing outside of this, the college. And I contacted her via email and we met up, like a little interview, and I was able to, take her classes, and that really opened me up. It really made me more talkative and being able to network with people and take away that shyness. I was pretty much an introvert, so what I'm trying to get at is extrovert. It really made me more of an extrovert, and it just helped me to tell myself that I could do the acting thing. I could pursue this. I remember I got my first, when I went to the first class and I had to perform with them, and I had the sheet of paper in my hand and I had to speak, and I'm stand up and I'm looking at the sheet and I'm talking, but my lip is quivering because I was nervous. But I told myself, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to continue to put the work and effort, and I'm going to build myself to get out of that shyness and that nervousness. And I, that was for a month every Saturday, that class, but I kept going. The following year, she had like three more classes that I took, and I kept going and I kept pushing myself, and I would be the first one to perform in any of the things that she had us do, and it really helped me. It really opened me up and gave me that confidence that I never had. I was 25 when I started. I'm 35 now, so that really helped build me in the relationships that I did, acquire after that, whether it's dating or friendships. That really, I always give Lori Cree credit for helping me to be able to find something that I know that I've wanted to do, but to find myself and being able to let myself out there in performing with acting, because acting, and you can tell yourself, yeah, I want to be in movies and this and that, and it's like acting is more than that, and that really helped me to be a better person for myself and give me that confidence. But yeah, so I Act You Act was a little community theater group in Harlem that I joined. Basically, the people that I took classes with, they were part of that, and that's how I heard about it. And I did, the auditioning for that. And I won't get too much into it because it did help me to be able to do my first on stage acting. It was pretty much sketch comedies based off of In Living Color, that the director who ran it was, I guess he had his own stuff, but he did have sketches from In Living Color that I always thought it was his first until I looked back and I saw actual Living Color episodes on YouTube, because I had seen that show years ago, but I ended up seeing like, hey, these are similar. So I don't know if he would just wanted to make the sketches and just reimagine them for his thing, or if he plagiarized, which I don't think that was the case, but I always thought it was his. But we put on sketches, and there were some things that were his, and we did another play that was somebody else. That we everybody pretty much knew people and brought people in. So there's one guy, I forget his name. It's Marvin. So he had a play like a Greek tragedy thing, Roman Greek tragedy thing, and we did that. We put that performance on, and it was fun. We did it once. I believe it was on a Friday because we did it like every 2 months. I was there for 6 months, but we did it every 2 months, and we put on that performance, and that was probably my favorite performance that I was a part of. I know I did I added something to one of the scenes, which it really made people laugh, and it was fun. It really, the improvising on my part for that, one of the scenes that I did, I really enjoyed it, even though I had to kind of like sing and I hated it, but I put myself out there. I was dressed up kind of like in a Greek Roman look, sandals and whatnot, so it was fun. I really enjoyed it. That gave me the opportunity to meet somebody who mentioned to me about a short film that he was going to be a part of, and I spoke to the director on Facebook at the time, and he wanted me to be Masked Man, and I was like, yeah, I'll just do the Masked Man. Or I actually told him I want to do the Masked Man role, but he hit me up and said, "No, I want to see you for the lead," and I met him for the lead role. I auditioned for it at a Starbucks, and I ended up getting it, and I was just like ecstatic because that was my first time, and I was so happy. And we actually started filming it, but we had to put a pause on that film, and then months later we came back to it. So in the film, The Things Left Behind, my hair is shorter at first, but then it grows because of all that time that passed by, and I never cut my hair. And it takes place within 3 days, but when you watch the film, it can go either way. Like, I really didn't think 3 days until I actually had to ask him how long is the time frame within the story, and it was 3 days, and I was like, but you don't really see that, so I don't think that was a big issue. But from that short film, it opened me up to wanting to create my own stuff, and I started to create my own stuff after that. And I was bad at it, but over time I've gotten better, and I've gotten about 20 films that I've done, produced, wrote, and star in. Not all of them I star in, but most of them. And I saw myself getting better. There's the things that I've had to learn and equipment that I've had to get. And I do things a lot by myself, and I'm fortunate to have friends who work with me. But for the most part, I'm able to kind of do the small short films on my own, as much as I like more help when it comes to the filming. But I do a lot of the editing on my own. I get my own music, whether it's online free royalty or through somebody that I know that I pay to do music. So it's been a fun ride with that. But yeah, I would say it started with the I Act You Act, and then I've been able to do a lot of things, but really because of the workshop, which helped me get I Act You Act, and then all these other things that I've been able to do, one act plays, another play for a festival. So it's been good. It's been fun, and I've been doing executive producing for some of these other people's projects, friends of mine. I said these other people's, but some of these friends of mine that do their own things as well, and I've been fortunate enough to associate produce and help them. So it's been fun, and right now it's pretty much slowed down, especially because of the whole COVID situation, but it's something that I'm still doing. I'm still writing. So
What was it like to be the executive producer of an off-Broadway show called The Boogeyman Diaries of a Broken Home?
So for that, it was through a friend. His girlfriend wanted to do a project, do a play, off Broadway play, or off Broadway play, whichever level you want to say that's not Broadway. But she did something for the festival, which won a Best Actress for that festival. The actress who knows at least three main characters, and one of them, Michelle, she won the Best Actress for that festival, and she was awesome. But yeah, for that, I helped fund it because I knew them, and I wanted to be a part of it in some way. I didn't want to act in it, and I don't think there was an interest for me to act in it, but I wanted to be a part of it, so I helped fund it and became an executive producer. but then eventually I was offered two or three bit parts within the play. So I was dressed up differently. One of them I had a mask on, so I was covered. But it was really fun. The Boogeyman Diaries of a Broken Home, I thought was well done. I really enjoyed it. I had my parents come and see it. They loved it. It was fun. Back in the days. I say back in the days because it really felt like long ago, and it's only been maybe less than 10 years, I would say. But maybe like 7 years, 6 years ago. I want to say seven, but it was fun. It was a blast and it was a good experience. And from that, I did eventually do another play, or it was a bunch of one act plays. It was like 13 back to back, and yeah, it was 13 back to back, and I was in one of them. I think it was the seventh one, and that was 10 minutes long, and that was my first time I met somebody who I knew was doing that. I think it was the same. So the couple, the friend that I had, who was the boyfriend of the girl at the time, his girlfriend at the time, who did the play, he was part of like this little group, and he put on performances, and I watched him in it, and I eventually was interested in that to contact the director and meet them in an interview and audition for, it was I think four different roles, and I could have gotten either of the four, and I ended up choosing one that I really enjoyed, and that was my first time doing a 10-minute one act play. That was a challenge that I personally set out to do because I've never done it, and we managed it. We did it at least three times. It was a blast. I had so much fun with that, so it was cool.
What inspired you to start directing and writing movies?
So I've always been a writer ever since I was young. I've always daydreaming and imaginative, and I was always just writing. But what really took off, what helped me take off into continuing to write and really do more with it, was the film The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first one of the trilogy. I fell in love with that movie. To me, it felt like a video game. I wanted to read the book, and I knew there was three books to that, and I would read each book before the movies came out, and it really opened me up to continue to read more books because I wasn't a big reader, but because of that film, it helped me read more books and start to want to write my own things. And it really started with short stories. That's something that I just would write, and I did a little bit of self-publishing. Didn't get anywhere much, but that's something that I did dabble in. And also the video game, it was for the PlayStation 1. It was called The Legend of Dragoon. I fell in love with that game because video games are stories that we play. Role playing games, it's really like a cinematic piece, if you will. It's not just button mashing and you're fighting and you're climbing and all this. No, it has story. It was 4 discs. So from Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and playing The Legend of Dragoon on PlayStation 1, that like I was just getting a lot of that fantasy, a lot of storytelling, and I was just in that world that I wanted to continue to grow in. And the directing part, making films, stemmed from when I pursued acting, and that was back in high school, the whole Lord of the Rings thing. But when I hit 25 out of high school, and I'm 25 eventually, is when I pursued acting. And my first short film, The Things Left Behind, that's what made me want to make short films. And I started to direct my own, as I've mentioned, and I just transferred writing short films into writing scripts. So that's how that happened.
You made three parts of your short film, A Hitman's Silence. Me personally, I've never seen someone make a trilogy of a short film. So I felt like that was cool and interesting. And by the way, which I was one of them, I was in one of the three movies. But why a trilogy for this particular movie?
See, with that, Hitman Silence was always going to be one film. And that actually started because the film that I did prior, once I finished it, I wasn't happy with it as far as a technical standpoint. With the editing and the equipment that I had, and I showed it to people, and I didn't get a lot of great feedback, which was understood. But that kind of my motivation to continue with short films and creating short films went down the drain, and I kind of took a pause for 6 months. Like, I'm just gonna rest. I've done enough short films, and I just don't want to do any more right now. But it was also because I was kind of like hurt and I was upset, that that specific project, The Dark Edge, was something that I was so like I put a lot of work and effort, and it just was bad. It wasn't a great film. I love the ending part, and I love what I was able to do in certain things, but it wasn't my best work. But I had the itch. I wanted to create something, and that's how the Hitman Silence came about. So the idea of a hitman was kind of borrowed from The Dark Edge, but I made it its own thing, the character, and I decided I'm gonna make this an easy film. I'm going to make it a silent film. I'm going to use my film on my phone, excuse me, and I'm gonna make it work. And I don't need to worry about the struggles of editing because I can edit something quick and easy. I have this idea, and I loved the Hitman Silence. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, and I always told myself I want to do a silent film. How am I going to do it? And I did it with a Hitman Silence. So there is music and there's sound effects that I did incorporate. So as far as it being a silent film, like where would you put that in the scope of things? But I really fell in love with it and I enjoyed it. And one day I was watching it at a festival and I'm like, yeah, I want to do another one. I want to do another Hitman Silence film because it was so much fun. And I ended up doing a Hitman Silence Chapter 2. And it's a little shorter than the first one. But while I was watching it, I was kind of not happy with it, the way it ended. And I just felt like it was more contained of a story, which, it was fine. But I think that idea that I was just unhappy, I just felt like it was incomplete, is what led me to making a third one. And it really, came full circle with that little trilogy of mine that I really enjoy. It means a lot. And I got to meet you on Instagram through friends, and I hit you up. I was like, hey, this person likes to work, and you were down for it. You said you saw the you read the script, you saw it, and you saw the films, and you was like, yeah, let's do this. And Hitman Silence Chapter 3 was born, and I'm really happy with the way it ended. I'm glad I didn't just end it at the second one. I was able to finalize it with this third one, and thank you for being a part of it. It was a blast. I really enjoy that. That's probably three of my favorite. Out of anything I've created, the whole Hitman Silence thing is my favorite because it was so easy. It was fun. I did it on my phone, and yeah, so that's how that happened.
You've won so many awards. You've been nominated for many categories. What's next for Elroy Martinez Jr. films?
Yes, I did get some wins and some nominations for festivals. One of my favorite festivals is the Bright Side Tavern Film Festival, Shorts Film Festival, and a lot of those festivals I go to a lot, and I've gotten nominated a few times going there. For Bright Side, I won 2 awards for Best Short for my film Harmony that I wrote. I didn't star in it, but I wrote and produced it, and I edited it. And that to get the trophy for that was awesome. I didn't keep the trophy. The actress, a friend of mine, Rachel Navarro, who also produced it, I gave it to her because she deserved it as much as I wanted the trophy for myself. I I knew she wanted it, and I gave it to her to hold. But we still got to win, and I was able to put that on my IMDb credit. And it didn't matter because I did get the Best Short award for Harmony as well at another festival. Not a trophy, but it's a certificate because they did have trophies, but for the Best Short award, they had a certificate, which is fine. So that's 2 wins for Harmony. And there's other stuff that I won, certificate wise, and honorable mention, silver award, gold award, awards that it's online events, so it's like it's still an accolade, but I'm more into the awards for actual festivals, which I did get a lot of nominations for. Like Point Lookout, I got it for the Bright Side for the ones that I didn't win, the films that I've put up, Grove Film Festival. Well, I don't think I got nominated in Grove, but I get selected. Just to get selected and showcase your work is just as awesome. So it's not a problem whether you win or lose, but it's always great to win. And I do have 2 trophies for a New York Indie Film Awards and LA Short Film Awards. I don't know the legitimacy of that festival because it was an online festival, and I'm very keen on ordering trophies, especially if it's not at a festival, because I feel like they should send it to you. I don't know how that works, but I never did that again. I just did it for those 2 because at the end of the day, accolade is an accolade, and I'm proud of them. So I do have those two trophies. I meant to take them out, but they're up there somewhere in my dresser. But yeah, I do have some awards, and I plan to continue to add accolades, big and small. And right now, I have a project that I did in October that I want to be able to, continue with in festivals for the recent festivals, but it's a micro short film. So I just gotta find some short films of festivals for that for micro short films, and that one's is a silent film, and it's a comic book ink type look, which you saw Pumpkin Seek. So that's something that's my latest film. But yeah, I hope to continue to make short films. Right now, I'm in the midst of creating my third feature script. I have two that are copywritten and Writers Guild of America East, and that's something that I think I want to focus on more so is writing scripts.
Theater or film?
Film,
Directing or acting?
acting,
Steven Spielberg or Quentin Tarantino?
ooh, I'm going to say Steven Spielberg.
Jennifer Aniston or Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Aniston for sure.
La La Land or Moonlight?
I haven't seen Moonlight. I've seen La La Land. Moonlight, I meant to see it and I never got around to it. But I probably would choose Moonlight. I wasn't really so crazy about La La Land, so most likely I would choose Moonlight.
Before I let you go, where can we find your films and any social media links that you want to share with us so then people could follow you and see more of your work?
Yes, my YouTube channel, Elroy Martinez Jr. If you're interested in any of my short films that I've done from when I started back in the days till now, please check them out. Leave comments if you have anything to say. Just keep it professional. Hit that notification button in case anything is coming out soon. You'll be able to see a teaser. And if you like what you see, again, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and Instagram is pretty much where I'll be posting any like posters or anything, and that's pretty much where you'll find the news that something's coming out soon. But just in general, my Instagram page, you'll see what I'm up to, whether it's festivals and whatnot. So yeah, I would say YouTube and Instagram is your best bet to find, and just check me out.
Thank you, Elroy. Best of luck to your projects, and we can't wait to see what's coming next. That does it for the Respect and Praise show. Stay tuned for the next episode. Always remember, have mutual respect, have mutual love, mutual admiration, because that's the best way we're going to continue to progress in life and continue to go forward. So, take care. From your host, Miguel Mike Medina.